Hey Hadley, Philemon, Coach Totten back. I hope you enjoyed making up those games last week with all the equipment you found. Back this week, and we're going to talk about a skill we use in rugby called the drop kick. Okay, there's 4 situations where you're going to perform a drop kick in rugby. First situation you would perform this kick is to start or restart the game from center. Ball must go 10 meters to the other team. Second situation is when your team scores a try, one of your players will attempt a drop kick up and over through the posts, the uprights, for 2 more points. Third situation that you would use a drop kick in rugby is at any time during the play, if you feel you have time and you're close enough, you, during the play, can drop the ball to the ground and kick it up through the uprights for 3 points. And then finally, the fourth situation where you use a drop kick in rugby is from your 22-yard line. If the other team puts the ball in your end zone, you touch the ball down before they get to it, you bring the ball out, your team is behind the 22-yard line, and you drop kick it to the other team to start the play again. To start and restart a game of sevens rugby, the ball must be drop kicked from the center of the field, and it must go at least 10 meters so that the other team can have a chance to retrieve the ball. Your goal in drop kicking to restart or start the game is to have the ball go 10 meters or more and high enough in the air so your team running onto the ball has a chance to get. Another situation where we use the drop kick in rugby sevens is after we score a try. Once a try is scored, the player grabs the ball, takes the ball into the playing field as far back as they want, in line with where the ball was touched down in the end zone and perpendicular to the goal line, and must drop kick the ball so it goes up and over and through the uprights for another 2 points. Where we would use a drop kick in rugby in general, or rugby sevens, is at any time during play, if a player feels they're close enough or have enough time, they can drop kick the ball from the field of play up and over and through the uprights for 3 points at any point during the game. today in rugby, and that's when you have to drop kick it from your 22-yard line. This happens when the other team puts the ball in your end zone, you're able to get to it and touch it down, then your team comes out, and from behind the 22-yard line, you restart the game by drop kicking the ball. Okay, we've talked about the situations where we use a drop kick in rugby. Now let's talk about the progression, or the technique. A drop kick is basically you taking this rugby ball, dropping it on the ground so that it bounces up into the air, and I make contact with my foot as it bounces up into the air off the ground. If this ball bounces on the ground straight up, I've got a good chance of making contact. If I drop this ball on the ground on an angle like this or an angle like this, it's going to bounce sideways, and I'll probably miss-hit the ball, and everybody will laugh at me. I'll feel shame. Also, if I drop the ball and it's pointed away from me, it's going to bounce away from me, and I'll probably end up missing the ball entirely, and I'll feel more shame. So to make good contact with that ball, it's got to first hit the ground so that it bounces straight up in the air, or it can also be tilted towards you a little bit, and if it hits the ground, goes towards your foot a little bit, that is not bad either. So when that ball hits the ground and comes back up, I swing my foot through the ball, and the contact I make on the ball is somewhere between the belly and the bottom of the ball. If I want the ball to go high in the air like a restart, I want to make contact closer to the bottom of the ball to make sure that it gets up in the air. If I want that ball to go further down the field, or if I was kicking a long convert, I'm going to kick it closer to the belly for distance. So closer to the bottom is higher, closer to the belly is distance. It'll go farther down the field. Okay, here's a few different views of what I just talked about, contacting the ball to make sure this ball gets up in the air. Hopefully these views help you with your technique and better your success. Take a look. Drop kick a few times and you're pretty happy with your contact, the next step would be accuracy. So instead of just kicking it down the field and happy with the contact, get something out there like a wheelbarrow, a bucket, some sort of target that you can focus on getting that ball up and down and landing as close as possible, or even right on top of that target. Good luck. Okay, well that's the drop kick in rugby, the different situations and a few techniques. Hopefully you guys can get out there, find some space, and practice that drop kick, because you'll be very valuable to whatever team you're on if you can do it well. I hope everybody's doing well, be safe, and hopefully sooner or later we get back to the school and get at it.